A lot happened. A lot happened. It was kind of crazy. I was doing stuff yesterday with my friends, and like at one point I was just checking my phone. I was scrolling. I was like, "Oh, that's cool.
He was at an
Oh, that's
intense
cool.
study session, some say.
Oh, that's cool." I just kept scrolling. I just kept finding more
Dude,
shit, more and
dude,
more shit.
I love finding shit out from reels so
Yeah,
I get the best opinions on the internet.
yeah, yeah. I've like, I'm pretty sure every piece of gaming news that happened yesterday I received through Reels.
You know what's crazy?
Hmm.
I'm looking at the winners, I'm looking at the list right now, and I mean, good God, this was a stomping. This was a
Yeah.
bloodbath. This
If you
was a
didn't know,
bloodbath.
everybody, yesterday, or not yesterday, December 11th, which was yesterday for us, but December 11th, the Game Awards happened,
Mm-hmm.
and alongside all of the many awards that were handed out, in which Expedition 33 wiped the floor, from what I hear.
Literally a bloodbath.
I think it actually hit the record for the most amount of awards won by a single game title. I'm pretty
I
sure.
don't think you can. I don't think you can win more
Yeah,
like you can't win more under like unless you're getting also genre awards. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
I don't think there will
So,
be a more winningful award. Which
which
I want to
is
get it. I want to get into this because I disagree with some of these. I
Well,
disagree with some of these, and
it's kind of
they're
interesting
hot
because I've never
takes.
played the game. I've never played the game, and I didn't like. I heard it was good, but I didn't know it was going to be like
I
to
watched
this level.
Logan play live for a lot of the campaign, and I mean it's really good. Like when I was watching him play, I remember saying like, "Wow, this looks really really good." And like like some of these awards, like best debut indie game, that makes sense. They won it. You know what I mean? Like there
Hmm.
wasn't really a better one this year. But like for example, I don't like the best performance. I'm gonna be honest. She was good. She was really good, but I don't think she was actually genuinely the best performance when it comes to voice acting and gaming this last year.
Then who do you think would have been more deserving of that title?
Silent Hill F.
Okay, okay. That I've also never played, and I haven't seen really anything about it. Is that the remake or the remaster?
Yeah, that's the remaster.
So since it is a remaster, is it eligible for?
Yeah, yeah. It was
Okay,
nominated.
okay, okay. That's interesting.
But the other nominations were like, for example, I think Ghost of Yote's main voice actress got one as well.
Okay.
But obviously I think Jennifer English did better than her
This is
based off
Jennifer English who
what I've
won
seen.
for Claire Obscura.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's not like I have the biggest disagreement with it. I just think
Yeah,
someone was. It's not like I was like, oh, this is a robbery.
yeah, that's fair. But more what I was interested in, alongside all of these game awards, because like there's not much to talk about besides the fact that Expedition 33 swept. And I mean, I guess you can say whether you have hot takes on that or not, if you wish, Matthew. Before we move on,
Yeah, I have one more hot take. I
go
guess
ahead.
people might say I don't mind that it won Best Art Direction, but I feel like a better art direction would have been, in my opinion. I think Hollow Knight Silk Song did more with the art direction.
Okay, okay. Never played, but I'm familiar.
Although I see where people are coming from, like I'm not against Claire Obscure winning the best art direction here. I'm just saying like Hollow Knight Silksong was a good shout as well because um it's kind of like what do you value more in an art style? I just think Hollow Knight Silksong is very unique, and I think for comparing, I don't think Claire Obscure is as unique, but I also it was really good, so I don't mind it winning.
Yeah,
The
that's fair.
other the other one, Arc Raiders, the game of the millennia one, the game of the millennia. What else?
What
No,
did it win?
it won best multiplayer.
Okay. From
Best
what I've heard
ongoing
from you,
game
it
was
makes
won
sense.
by No Man's Sky.
See,
From
I
what
saw that.
from
I
what
did
I
see that.
heard, I'm I don't mind that. I think that's pretty good.
This is so interesting to me because I heard that it was having a resurgence, but I haven't heard anything about it in the world for like 7 months or something. Like It was popping off for a little bit, but then it kind of, I don't know, I didn't hear anything about it. So I was kind of surprised to see it win, to be
Yeah,
honest.
because of like you would think recency bias. Okay,
Yeah.
I have a fucking problem here because I'm just seeing this now. And
Okay.
I'm mad.
Oh, he's mad. Guys, get
Best
ready.
adaptation, The Last of Us season 2. This had to be a joke. Like we had to vote.
Probably
this
because there
as a
was
community
fucking
as a
nothing
joke.
else for it to win. What were the nominations?
Let me check real quick. A Minecraft movie. That was better.
Honestly, more entertaining.
I would have voted for that. I would have voted for that.
Certainly
De-
more entertaining.
Devil May Cry. I think that one should have actually won.
Was that the anime?
That was.
Was there a? Did they make a movie?
It was the Netflix show. It was the Netflix show. Devil
Okay.
May Cry.
Right.
But
Did they make a live action then or something?
No, it's they made a show. It's like an animation. It's like an.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I
the
don't know
anime.
if
Okay,
I don't know if
it's
technically an anime. Do you know for sure?
I'm pretty sure it looks like an anime. Oh no, it's a South Korean show, so I guess not technically.
I think.
It looks kind of like Castlevanian
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, but I heard it was really good, and obviously the Chopped of Us Part 2 was not. So I don't know. I think that might have been a joke, but like, I don't know. I don't know if it was a joke or if people are really all that stupid. You know what
That's
I mean?
ridiculous.
It's like when your friend says, "Oh, I rage baited you." You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
they weren't actually rage baiting; they were just being a fucking dumbass. Anyway,
Yeah.
player's voice. Okay, Wuthering Waves, that dog shit game that
But what do you
nobody
mean
likes.
player's voice? What does that mean?
It's like a game people think. I think you should. I think it's like a game people think you should go play. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Okay. It's a very interesting
Search up
category.
Wuthering Waves. You will know exactly what community voted for that game. And their opinion should be anybody who voted for that game for player's voice should be opinion invalid, unless of course that was a joke.
It just looks like a normal like anime RPG.
Exactly, in a one player's voice.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
but what if it's really good? I feel like our currently retired host Caden would
Caden
probably
would be
enjoy
sick
that
enough
game.
for it. He would be
I think he
sick
would be
enough
sick
for
enough
it.
for it.
And I'm gonna tell you right now.
And I would hear him out. I would hear him out.
I would.
I would hear him out.
It's scorched earth policy, okay? Anyway, content creator of the year was won by Moist Critical.
Okay. I did not hear about that. That's cool.
I think
I forgot they did that.
his biggest reason for winning content creator of the year wasn't even his content creatorship. It was his it wasn't even his YouTube channel. It was his Dispatch voice acting. That's why I think he should win content creator of the year.
Probably. He was the bat person, right?
Yeah, the bad
Yeah.
guy who's really intelligent and charismatic and just like me. Anyway, best esports game was won by Counter-Strike. That makes sense. Best esports athlete was Chovy, which I don't know if that's true.
I don't know anything about
I
that.
think it should be Faker if I know anything about that game. But maybe I'm just like weird like that.
He's just weird like that.
Anyway, we
But
can now get to what you wanted to talk about. I just had to discuss
yeah,
that for a little bit.
because I didn't even know the Game Awards were happening until literally as I just kept seeing so much gaming news and I was like, is there like a fucking event going on? Like what's going on here? And my buddy looked it up and he was like, yeah, it's the Game Awards. Before I go into that, I want to quickly say Supergirl trailer first look came out yesterday. I think it looks pretty good. Have you seen that yet, Matthew?
As in the movie?
Yeah, the movie Supergirl.
Yeah. I've seen tidbits here and there.
I think it looks
And,
pretty cool.
Did you see the headphones? They look a little familiar. They do
look a little familiar. They do look a little familiar. And then Lobo, we got a little sneak peek at Lobo. He looks pretty fucking cool. Jason Momoa's
bro
back.
Gotta play his dream character or whatever.
Yeah, pretty excited. And then the only other like entertainment that is in gaming news besides that was the pretty much full cast announcement for the Street Fighter movie, which is pretty crazy because I kind of didn't really realize that was happening. Like I think I remember hearing about that a while ago, which that looks pretty crazy.
Who's playing what? I'm not really a big Street Fighter guy because I always view Tekken as just a better game. for today. So
I don't remember. The actor who plays Ryu is not someone I'm like completely familiar with, but he looks like he'll be doing a good job. Interestingly enough, Noah Centineo is Ken, which will be interesting, I think.
hold on, let me
Considering
look at this.
David Dastmalchian got cast as Monsieur Bison, which is pretty cool. Jason Momoa is also going to be in it as Zentaka or something. I can't remember his name, like the animal guy.
I don't like when actors do this, and like Noah Centineo looks nothing like Ken, but maybe he does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Noah Centineo has a very strange acting history, which is the only reason I'm like kind of unsure how I feel about it. But I mean, there's been plenty of, actors who've been able to kind of break out of their niches like Robert Pattinson did with Batman and other films besides that. So, I don't know. I'm willing to keep an open mind about it. I mean, I'm not like the biggest Street Fighter fan. I just know about some of the characters from Smash Bros, to be honest with you. Don't hate on me.
Don't
50 Cent's going to be in the movie too.
50 Cent, many
Yeah.
men.
Which 50 Cent's having a great week.
He's having a glow up.
He's having a great week.
He's happy, bro. He's
With
happy.
Did you see the footage from the Diddy documentary?
Yeah, I always see him smiling. He's always smiling.
He's so happy that Diddy's in jail.
Anyway,
Okay, besides,
I want to introduce something I am really excited for.
yeah, go ahead.
My king is back. No, I'm joking. Leon Kennedy's back,
Yeah, yes,
and Resident Evil Requiem,
yep.
and I will
Which
be
is
playing
crazy.
that game. I will be playing it because I'm
Yeah.
psyched.
Yeah,
I tend to not play the Resident Evil games when Leon's not in them because they're just not as good. I don't know what else to say.
I've only played ever like the first half hour to an hour of Resident Evil 8, but then realized that I can't do first person horror and quit.
Resident Evil 4 is third person.
Yeah, I've just never gone and played the originals, which I would like to because they seem
RE4
cool. But
is phenomenal. Anyway,
that's what I've heard. Stuff official like actual trailer for the new Lego Batman game dropped, and that looks pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. You're gonna like they showed Robin,
Yeah,
Batgirl, Nightwing,
the thug
bunch of
returned.
villains, huh?
The thug has returned, bro. Yeah,
Like the Goon.
yeah, the
Yeah.
goon.
The Goon, yeah. Let's see.
I
A
wonder
new
if they're gonna do the-
Total Warhammer game.
Dude, okay, I gotta talk. I have actually a video coming out on that because I recorded that when I had my sleep insomnia. But yeah, I was really excited. I'm excited. I'm a little.
That it's
Worried.
tabletop.
I'm a little worried. I'm excited. I'm a little worried. That's all I'm gonna say.
Are you
Video
worried
coming
because
out
it's
about it.
tabletop?
What do you mean by tabletop?
Because it's
Not
gonna be
tabletop.
I'm pretty sure because it's not like a shooter. It's a it's
You
like
know
a
what? You know
it's like
what
it's like a battle strategy
you know
game.
what a
I think.
Total War game is, right?
Yeah, I think it's like a battle strategy game. Is it not?
Yeah, they look.
Yeah,
it
like it's like
looks-
tabletop, so to speak.
Yeah, it looks like there are other Total War games, and I played all 3 Warhammer. I played since Medieval 2, so I have ball knowledge in this area. Yeah, I mean, the short gameplay snippet they showed looks really cool. It looks like a lot of their other games. There's 2 modes. There's the real-time strategy mode, which is when you're on the battlefield fighting other armies, and then there's the turn-based like city builder mode, right? And I'm worried about that mode more than the other one. And recently Total Warhammer 3 has had some like bugs when it comes to playing the game. Like I used to have an old challenge series on the channel, not old, but like a couple of months ago I was doing this challenge series and I couldn't do it because the AI wasn't working how it's supposed to work. And so the challenge wasn't really as hard as it was supposed to be. So I just want them to fix that, and then I'll be excited. And then on top of that, I just want the game to go more back to having more uniqueness like in Total War Attila. Anyway.
We also got 2 new Star Wars games announced.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm excited about those.
Yeah.
I'm also excited about 2 other games, but we'll get to that later.
So Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic, it's a continuation. Well, I don't know if it's like a direct continuation, but it's made by the same people as, the original KOTOR. And
Yeah.
SWOTOR, is that the other one?
Yeah, the original like two, double.
Yeah, so this one, they're hopefully it's not gonna get canceled, which happens to a lot of Star Wars games. And then also the racing game, Galactic Racer, which is interesting.
I'm gonna
I'm
say
excited.
this.
I'm probably more excited about Photor, but both seem interesting.
I'm gonna say this now. I think Disney has done a way better job handling the game side of things as opposed to their movie side of things. And when it comes to the Star Wars universe, like the fall off from Lucas, the original Lucas games to Lucas games now is not nearly
That's bad.
as bad as the movies, in my opinion. And I honestly wouldn't even say there's a fall off. Like, I love the original Battlefront 2, and the new Battlefront 2 was decent. On release, it was bad because of the gambling aspect it had back in the day. But they kind of removed that, and then I would say it was good when they did that. It was like a good game, and like the Fallen Order games are pretty good too.
Yeah, but I would say Lucas Games was struggling just a little bit with like that Star Wars Outlaws game that came out. That didn't do very well.
Because they decided to. I don't know. Actually, I'm not going to talk about.
Yeah, didn't they give it to Ubisoft pretty much though? Are they the ones who developed that with with Lucas Games?
It just looked like a horrible game.
It did.
It looked like it was made by a. I don't know why they would license it. You know what I mean? And obviously, it's not like I don't think it's a smart game to make.
Yeah.
And I'll get into that why. It's not a smart game to make because, first of all, you're selling a live service AAA game. Everybody's already annoyed with that dog shit, as they should be. So they don't want to spend $70 and then go buy your battle pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which thankfully, it seems like these two new games that they just announced aren't going to be live service. From what I could tell, the only one I could see being live service would be the racing game.
Yeah, I don't mind it being live service if either A, it's free, or B, it's, like there is a reason to it. You have to have a distinct reason. You can't just be like, hey, we're making a live service.
So you can spend a bunch of fucking money.
Yeah, and we're gonna lock gameplay mechanics behind it and stuff like that.
Yeah. A piece of game news I'm pretty mad about, to be honest, was the announcement of not one, but two remakes of the Tomb Raider series.
See, I thought you were gonna disagree with me on this. I
agree.
These games. I'm not gonna go out here and buy these games. I don't care to.
Well, because here's the thing. I love Tomb Raider Definitive Edition and Rise of the Tomb Raider, which are the first two in the series that was remade from the original 90s games. I love those two games. They're fun.
The remakes.
And now they're remaking them again. But also twice, because I don't think the two new games are connected to each other.
Yeah, but it hasn't even been like 20 years.
Yeah. Because Shadow of the Tomb Raider came out in 2019, I think.
Yeah. But like the original games came out like way before that, and like there was such like a technological advancement. I was like, yeah, fuck it, like let's make a remake.
Yeah,
it's 2020. They're coming out 2026, 2027.
Yeah, and they also just remastered one of the original, or no, like a bunch of the original ones too from the 90s. Like they just had Tomb Raider content come out.
Yeah, I don't.
And I would have just preferred a continuation of the Tomb Raider remakes, to be honest, because I would have loved that personally. Like if they just made another game, like just a fourth game in the, like the Tomb Raider Rise Shadow series. Because I mean, even though I didn't really love Shadow, I love that version of Lara. I think she's great, and I'm not really willing to meet a new one, to be honest with you.
I just don't like. Why would I buy it?
Yeah, it's like if they remade Uncharted right now. You know what I mean?
But worse, because Uncharted came out like 2014.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to say it was one of the flagship PS4 like releases. Uncharted 4. That's what I want to say.
No, I don't. I think that game came out in like 2017.
Like came out 2014.
2016. And then Lost Legacy came out a couple years later, I think.
Yeah, Uncharted 4 was one of my favorite games. Anyway,
I love Uncharted 4. Let's see.
I wanted to
So
get
yeah,
back
not
to
excited about
something.
that.
I wanted to get back to something you said before that we didn't really touch on, which was
Yeah.
the Star Wars racing game, dude.
Okay.
Okay, that trailer was really good.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think that trailer was like one of the best trailers they've ever done for a Star Wars game. Even better than others because literally, like the setup to it was like lit. Yeah, the voiceover, the scenes, bro. And we all know the Lego mission with the pod racers
Yeah.
that we all grew up on. So
Mhm.
I think this game actually looks really interesting. I think it's
Yeah,
gonna be a hit.
I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, it's also cool that like it's not the only Star Wars game that's coming out. Like I think if it was the only one that was announced, I would have been a little bit like, like whatever. But I'm glad we're getting like that, and then we're getting like a, an Old Republic game. I'm glad it's not High Republic. I'm glad it's Old Republic. First, I would like to say that. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. Also, a lot of like D&D related stuff. Larian
Yeah.
Studios is coming out with a new game, Divinity. I think it's a continuation of their old series.
Okay, I have to talk about Larian Studios here real quick. They're
Okay.
really good, and I'm gonna congratulate them on this. They're really good at making a particular type of game. But if you're gonna sit here and you're gonna tell me that the games they've made over years have been revolutionary, I'm gonna disagree with you, gameplay wise.
Okay.
Okay, and the only exception is Divinity Original Sin 2. Okay, that game was revolutionary. Baldur's Gate 3 was not. Baldur's Gate 3 perfected the system Divinity Original Sin 2 made. Okay, and I will be playing Divinity Original Sin 2 because I think it looks really cool. But somebody in the comments tried telling me the other day that the Baldur's Gate series of games were revolutionary even back in the early 2000s, which incorrect. They weren't revolutionary back then, and they're not today either, because back in the day, you know what game was revolutionary? Skyrim Morrowind. Okay, that game came out in 2002. Okay, it was completely open world, which was like revolutionary for the time because there weren't a lot of revolutionary games, whereas Baldur's Gate 2 was a bird's eye view 2D game, completely different. And sure, it was probably a great game, but
That's fair.
I don't think
can
people understand what the term revolutionary means.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think revolutionary also has to be like an indicator of the quality of a game. You know what I mean? Like
That's
you can
what I'm
make a
saying.
game, you can make a game that isn't revolutionary and it still isn't. It's still a good
It's
game,
still
and
good,
like,
yeah.
but
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, but I think people do like to like when they like see a really good game, they tend to want to tack on revolutionary
onto it.
to kind of hype it up, and it's also like they're thinking revolutionary, not necessarily in the same way you're thinking of it. I think, because I think you're thinking of it in terms of gameplay and like also just what it does for the field of gaming. Like
You can have. Yeah, I view it in terms of revolutionary gameplay wise. Also, like that includes like sound and art style, because those things can also make game like anything that impacts gameplay heavily. I'm just saying, like, people a lot of the time don't understand a nuanced argument. So, like, for example, I said in the video, I like it, but I don't like it as much as D&D. And if you try to view the game as like a D&D alternate, like as a D&D substitute, I don't think it's good at doing that. But what I do think it is I think it's a great RPG, which is completely different.
Yeah, that's fair. I also just think that like I think the field's changing a little bit, because I think gaming is gonna be kind of pretty good here for a little bit.
Dude,
if my intuition is correct.
These games, all of them look good. Like as we were talking about, Warhammer, we're excited about. I'm always excited about a Total War Warhammer game.
I'm excited about Lego Batman.
Not Diablo. Fuck. Yeah, Lego Batman, Resident Evil,
Star
the
Wars.
Star Wars games.
I'm excited about the Lara Croft games, but that's whatever.
Yeah, neither am I. I'm not excited about the Diablo game.
Is there a Diablo game? Or do you mean Divinity? Oh, okay.
I mean expansion.
I see. Um, but I think the some of the justification I can say for the revolutionary argument is just that like for a little bit, gaming was like post COVID for like the next like 3 years after COVID, I would say like there was some there was a lot of harsh years with gaming, and I think people when
Elden
they see
Ring,
it,
Ghost of Tsushima.
no, I know, and I'm not
There
saying
were
there
like
weren't good
class
games.
coming out.
I know, and that's why people tend to think of those games as really, really great in comparison to a lot of the field at the time. You see what I'm saying here? Like a lot of like we're talking about the same years as like Assassin's Creed game, like the last three Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah, I would say, but like Ubisoft just sucks in general. I think,
Hmm.
like even nowadays, they still fuck up everything they do. Like I'm not happy at all with Siege right now, and it takes like 2 easy steps to fix Siege. What I was getting at is like, for example, I think Ghost of, I don't know if I would say that actually. Continue what you were saying.
I was just saying that like I think people are more willing to like, and I think it's going to be a little bit less so now since a lot of games are I think are going to be like as an average better than they have been because it already has been. I would say like 24 in this year, like 2024 in this year, like the average quality of the game without having like the outliers that kind of like bring it to the center. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, like has been pretty good like comparatively to like 2020 to 2023 despite gems, yes.
I think 2025. I think this last year. I'm trying to think about all the games that have come out. I I remember. Okay, this year was definitely better multiplayer wise than last year. I don't know if it was better single player wise. Again, and I'm talking PC wise.
Mm-hmm.
I think it. No, it was better single player wise. Yeah, I think this year was overall better than last year. Was it as good as I thought it was gonna be? No, but
Yeah,
that was
that's fair.
mainly in part due to Monster Hunter Wilds being kind of poodoo. But they're making a massive update, and usually I trust Capcom with massive updates, and they're finally fixing shit that they should have been fixing
Mm-hmm.
at the start of the year.
Yeah, that's fair. But then, yeah, like as I'm saying, like these games aren't necessarily revolutionary, but you know they're desirable.
All I'm
Another
gonna say
game.
is
go
if
ahead.
you like role playing games, because that's what it's an RPG. If you like role playing games, you'll like New Vegas more than you will like Baldur's Gate 3 for the role playing aspect. That's my opinion.
Interesting. But I feel like they're not even like comparable games.
They're both RPGs.
Yes, but they're like
You're
They're
both
just
rolling.
not-
You're both.
yes in like the RPG aspect, but also like another major aspect of the game being combat is just like so astronomically different.
It's
That just
not
kind of
as-
depends on your
I don't-
playstyle.
I don't think it's actually that different because you're still rolling a percentage to do damage, to hit. You know what I mean?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but New Vegas has the same combat style as Fallout 4, yes,
Yeah, but
which is just a shooter. No,
you have the percentages pop up. I thought.
isn't not just a shooter?
Let me look.
Because
could be
with
wrong
Baldur's
here.
Gate, it's it's like
I
a
could be
technically
thinking
it's a behind the scenes dice roll, like you're saying percentages. Whereas in Fallout, it's just you're shooting the enemy, unless I'm mistaken. But
No, but there's also things that go on behind the scenes that they're rolling that you don't know about.
I'm just trying to think of what that would even be. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're not necessarily they're comparable in terms of RPGs, and if you want to say like one's a better,
We're both right and wrong.
okay.
You know, like there's I don't know what the system's called, but it's like it shows the percentages at which you
Oh,
have a chance
VATs.
at hitting. Yeah, VATs on
Okay.
hitting head, limbs, body. That's what I was referring to.
Okay, I see, but that's also like a subsection of combat that is like an ability that you can use, and not necessarily like the primary, like because you're not always using VATs when you're fighting in Fallout. But I can see what you're saying, and I think you can compare them as potentially like as RPGs, which may have been what you were saying, but as like games in general, it's kind of harder to say that I think.
I would see again. This is my opinion. I think they're closer comparison wise to each other than D&D is to Baldur's Gate.
Fascinating, fascinating.
But that's just because I think how the story's crafted, and each thing, how the like video game RPG mechanics are inherently going to be different from tabletop RPG mechanics to a degree. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that take. I just kind of don't see the point in comparing, which I guess you make a point of in your video about Baldur's Gate, but I don't necessarily like. I understand that like Baldur's Gate is in essence a D&D game. Like there's no like argument against that. It's set in Faerun, it's set in Baldur's Gate, you know, it has the tabletop mechanics as far as it is able to do so in terms of it being a video game. But because it is a video game and because it's like and it's not like it's a set story, even though you can change the way the story goes about. It is a set story and you don't have as much influence over it as you would in a D&D campaign where like the dialogue options are like infinity.
I'd actually say
But
it's a lot like The Witcher 3 from what I've played of The Witcher 3
yeah. That's fair.
when it comes to the story aspect. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, again, I don't think it's a true RPG. I think the RPG tag in gaming, I think is a little skewed. I think the only one that like truly lives up to it, in my opinion, is like, New Vegas.
Well, I don't understand how you wouldn't constitute Baldur's Gate as an RPG.
Because it has it like you're saying that like it's a role playing game, okay? And in my opinion, role playing game means your character can do and be whatever they want to be, and it impacts the story, right? To a large extent, and you can, as a player, largely affect the story. So, like for example, in New Vegas, you can just kill out, like if you decide to go slime somebody in New Vegas, you're going to slime them, and then that quest line's gone forever. And also, not only are the missions gone, but it'll also impact the story from there on out. Hold on, I'm getting an echo. Sorry. But yeah, that's just my opinion on it.
So if I understand what you're saying, I think the reason for this is that if I'm understanding correctly, Fallout, because I've never played New Vegas. I've only ever played like 20 hours of Fallout 4. But, I have a pretty decent understanding of Fallout, because Fallout doesn't like have really like this is going to sound weird, but it's going to come through in the end. Like Fallout doesn't really have like a story necessarily. Like at least one you make it.
Yeah, in the
Yes.
sandbox. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
an RPG to me, like D&D is or like D&D styled games is the pinnacle RPG in my opinion. So like D&D Daggerheart, because they truly do allow you what a RPG should allow you to do. You know what I mean? You're literally creating the story, and in essence, that's a lot what you do in Fallout, and that's why people don't like the newest Fallout as much, because it's not really like that as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. And I want to tickle your brain on this a little bit. Because I would argue that D&D, and this is going to sound crazy, but I'm going to back this up. I would argue that D&D is not as much of a sandbox as you really think it is. And I would argue that it's much less of a sandbox than Fallout is.
I disagree, and here's why. You can literally make a homebrew world. So,
Yeah.
like...
But who's making that world?
You and the DM are.
The DM, exactly. Larian Studios operates as the DM for you with Baldur's Gate 3. It's the same thing.
But okay, it's not the same thing, because, and I'm going to use an extreme example here. Say DM apparently makes the exact same story as Baldur's Gate, but you, and as a player and as a party, you could be like, well, we don't really want to do that. We want to go pick some mushrooms. We want to go find this particular mushroom in order to heal our essence. You as a party can then go do that, okay? Or the DM will be like, oh, well, I don't really want to do that. And that's fine. But typically, DMs and players are there to create a story together. Whereas Larian, again, this is a problem with the game, with just it being a game, is Larian can't just on off its head just go do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but in my opinion, like a respectful party and a party that is like wise in terms of like playing the game in a way that's fun for everybody is not going to go out of their way, first of all, to railroad the overarching narrative that a DM has created. And while this means that this they can subvert by picking mushrooms instead of doing the main quest, the DM is going to respond by reverse railroading them back on track in as subtle of a way as they can, in my opinion. Because when a party goes out of their way to subvert the plot in a way in which they're creating a new one, I think it's disrespectful personally, depending on motivations and exactly what it is that you're railroading. Like if you ignore the plot to pick mushrooms, that's ridiculous. And I know that was just an example. And there's like different I know there's different things you're thinking of. And this happened in a campaign that Matthew and I are playing recently. We slightly railroaded our DM's intentions.
Well, we were actually railroaded by DM, and then we thought outside of the box.
Yeah. But if you can catch what's going on, it's already getting railroaded in the reverse direction. And
no,
we're talking out of context here, so it's not really fruitful for our argument.
Because I think the, how do I say this? The way in which it occurs is very different.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that, I just think that, how do I say this? I'm trying to think here. I think that, sure, a DM can come up with their story, right? And they can have an overarching plot, right? And like similar to like, I'm going to use Borderlands 2 as an example here. I think to a large extent, the antithesis to your campaign and a big way of getting players to want to do your plot in a way to want to buy in is having a really good villain, right? And so, yes, you made the villain, but you're not making how you beat the villain. Whereas in a game like Baldur's Gate, I would say that due to game mechanics and certain game, like it being a game, you can't change that. And also you're not actually crafting the story with Larian when they're making the story. Again, hindrance of the game.
I would argue that you do affect the story in as much of a way as you would in a D&D campaign without it being sandbox, which I think is too much for D&D. Because there's the existence of Dark Urge as a concept already creates a whole different way to play the game. And I've played the whole game playing like a mostly like I try to make the best decisions as possible for my party members and for like me. Like I purposely avoided like bad endings for characters as much as I could. And then I started and got decently far into a Dark Urge playthrough, and I just noticed how completely different the game is. And depending on what time you do things in the game, how you deal with things in the game, like take the hag for example, whether or not you kill the hag, she shows up later. And there's like whether you meet this one NPC, he or she might show up later. There's a lot of things that change, maybe not the overarching like besides Dark Urge, I would say, because of whether or not, or whether you embrace the Ceramorphids, is that what they're called? The Mind Flayer,
the tadpoles,
whether you embrace it, whether you resist it, whether you join with the Mother Brain, or whether you don't, there's a lot of things, and maybe it's not as vast as a D&D party having the free will to do what they want. But Larian is stepping in as an intermediary, like a DM, as much as the game is able to from a detached point of view. Because the difference is obviously the DM is so much more involved, always, because they exist with the players. So it is more of a dialogue, and the DM responds to what the players do and adjusts accordingly. But ultimately, the DM is going to intrinsically reorient the game to their original narrative as much as they can. without it being too forced, without devaluing the decisions their players make. Whereas Larian, it sets up all this stuff that the players can do and allows for as much malleability as it can as something that cannot respond or adapt in the specific moment as a real D&D game can.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the, because I want to touch on this. I think a
Yeah.
lot of the best moments in D&D occur when both the DM and the players change the narrative in a substantial way that the DM didn't know was ever could happen, right? So, like, for example, again, this is going to sound out of context on our players, but I think us escaping played for way more of an interesting story than us not escaping.
Sure.
Than us just getting put in the area anyway. You know what I mean?
I mean,
And
like, yeah, go ahead.
again, I think it's just in a lot of ways a hindrance because it's a game, but I don't think it's necessarily as good of an RPG as D&D because of a lot of these reasons. Again, it's a role-playing game. You're not even doing as much role-playing when you're playing Baldur's Gate as you are when you're role-playing your character.
Yes and no, because also, like, the existence of dialogue options, and they're pretty, like, drastic dialogue options. They make or break conversations. The existence of, like, friendship levels in the game, the romance, the ability to become friends with most NPCs, and then, you know, there's entire arcs revolved around how you interact with the people in your party. Like I said, like, you know, your relationship in, you know, for example, in Baldur's Gate with Karlach, whether or not you help her out with her goal of literally staying alive. Lae'zel, whether or not you help her with her creche, or whether or not you kind of make her realize that, you know, what she's doing is wrong. Stuff with Shadowheart and her family, stuff with Astarion and his vampire cult, you know, all these things. I would say, like, role play wise, you can really get into your character, and maybe not as much as a D&D character, in which, like we said earlier, dialogue options are, like, logistically infinite because it's your brain coming up with it. Larian does what it can to replicate that, I feel like.
Yeah, but
You know,
I just personally, I don't view it as good of a RPG at doing that as other things. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't think calling it an RPG is always the best way to go about it, because again, I think there are better RPG games that represent that. And if, you know, I'm not just comparing it to like D&D, I'm comparing it to like games like Daggerheart and stuff. And so to me, though, that's what a real RPG experience is. And again, I don't think you could replicate that in almost any games. You know what I mean? I think another game that does a really good job of being an RPG like D&D is the way Oblivion handles it. And like, yeah, you have an overarching storyline, but there are choices you make there, and there's like 6 or 8 of them, I think, that you make that can impact the storyline to a large degree and how you play the game and stuff. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying too, but I do think it's a fundamental, just like, we're not thinking about the difference between Baldur's Gate and D&D on the same level, I think, because I think we're giving benefits of the doubt and not giving benefits of the doubt between the both of us at different points, I think, which is fair. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think
Disagree to disagree, I think. However, what we can maybe pivot to is they did announce a D&D game.
Yeah, Warlock.
Yeah, Warlock.
Who's that?
What, sorry?
Because there's 2 D&D games, but I don't remember if Warlock was the...
Wizard of the Coast is making a sci-fi RPG, but it's not D&D related. It's just made by Wizards, I think. And then another game is Dungeons & Dragons Warlock, or whatever it's called. Is there another game you were thinking of?
No, those were the games. I didn't think the WotC game was sci-fi though.
It looked
I
pretty
didn't know that.
sci-fi. I thought I was
But
looking at the trailer.
I don't
It's
know if
called
I'm just
Exodus, I believe.
I don't know if I'm just misremembering what I saw.
Wizards of the Coast, Exodus.
WotC.
Yeah, it's based off of yeah, this looks pretty sci-fi from what I can tell. Oh, I think it's
This,
based off of a TTRPG as well, actually.
yeah,
Yeah, no.
yeah. No, you're right. It definitely looks sci-fi for sure. It's Destiny, look like Destiny Warframe type
Yeah, it's
of
got
art
like this
style.
kind of yeah.
But what I do remember, the reason why I said it looked like that, it looked more like, I remember it looking more like D&D, is what appears to be the main bad guy looks a lot like Vecna.
That's what I was looking at. I was just scrolling through some
Uh,
images. I saw someone doing making that comparison as well.
but yeah, I think it
That
could
is
be a
interesting.
cool game.
Yeah, and then yeah, the Warlock game. I saw some people kind of mad about like you can only choose, like you can only play as a Warlock, but also like just play Baldur's Gate if you want class customization. Because clearly this Warlock game doesn't seem to be focused on.
Just play D&D if you want the most class,
Yeah,
specification, because you can
that's
literally.
true. I would like to make an argument about that though, because here's the thing. Baldur's Gate 3, this is interesting, I think, because what I don't think you're necessarily, because you say a lot, and I've you've made Baldur's Gate videos, and I've watched bits and pieces of it to kind of gather your argument, and you make the point a lot that you just made of just go play D&D, but we have a very distinct privilege, you and I, of being able to play D&D, because I see a main problem I see a lot of the time is that people just
They
don't have the
friends,
means
Yeah.
to get together and play, which is a real big deal. Like, D&D is getting popular way more so than it has been since its conception.
Nah, I'm gatekeeping
For sure.
this shit, bro.
What, sorry?
I'm checking.
Nah, I'm
saying,
gatekeeping this shit. Is that what you
gatekeeping
said?
this shit.
Yeah, but like it's getting super duper popular, but still not popular enough for it to be like necessarily easy for people to get into the game. Because I've met plenty of people in real life, and I've met plenty of people over the internet that whenever I tell them my roommate, for example, I was when we started up our campaign, I was kind of talking about D&D a little bit with him, and he was like, "Man, like this game just sounds like so cool, like, but I just like don't have anybody to play it with." And that's just that's a common thing, and that's why Baldur's Gate is
Um,
appealing to people, because it's not necessarily ideally a single player game, but it is a single player game.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'll agree with that. But I also think that what you can do in Baldur's Gate, you can also do by yourself. And obviously, it's not as
Play by
fun.
yourself, you mean?
Yeah, I mean you can literally play by yourself. It's obviously not going to be as fun as playing with other people, but I don't think a lot of, like, if you have the right friends, I don't think a lot of the time, playing by yourself is going to be more fun than playing with your friends.
I don't even think you could play D&D by yourself in the same
Uh,
way that it's more productive to play BG3 by yourself. Because at least BG3, you have the privilege of not knowing ahead of time what's going to happen, because there's still a veil of
There's some
obscurity
randomness
because
in
someone else
playing
made
D&D
it.
by yourself.
Yeah, but also
I get
like
what you're saying by the veil and the fact that your decision making could be countered by that. What I will say, and I'm not a proponent of this, but done right in the future, I do think it could be cool for people in this position. Well, okay.
I know what you're about. I know what you're about. I think I know what you're about to say.
The more obvious response to this first, I don't know how else to say this. There are thousands, and obviously they're not going to be the most fun to play with because they're not your friends. You know what I mean? But there are ways to get a play group together if you don't have friends in real life to play D&D with. You know what I mean? You can go to your local game store. I'm sure there's people who would want to play there. But getting back to what I think I was already going with this was D&D and AI.
Yeah, yeah, I fucking knew it.
I'm not the biggest proponent of AI, but I think AI done right is better than AI done wrong. And AI is going to be done whether sadly, whether you like it or not. And so I'm just going to get out on the front end of things and say that you have to do, you know, AI right, or else customers just won't buy it.
I think I have a problem, and this is just, I mean, boil it down to this if you would like, but like this is basically just like because I don't like AI or the inclusion of it in media, period.
I think there are cool ways to include it. Like I was talking about this earlier, and I'll let you get back to your point. But I do think there are genuinely cool uses of using it. For example, in this game Mimesis, it will it copies when you're playing, and it's a horror game. If your friend dies or gets possessed, it'll copy what your friend talks and sounds like. It's insane. And like it'll
It is a little unnerving though.
It'll mimic the, for example, like if you and your friends, for example, is your mana full, you know what I mean? It'll say shit like that in scenarios like that. And so I think it does add to the horror aspect, because that's something you couldn't do beforehand. You know what I mean? In some ways, I do think it adds to the horror aspect in that game, and I do think it enhances it in ways that couldn't be enhanced otherwise. But yeah, get back to your point.
Yeah, I would just say that like encouraging people who are struggling with finding friends to play D&D with, to, because I'm sure a lot of the time with that it's like maybe introverted nature or lack of friends, period. Encouraging them to resort to something unalive that is going to create something that is not going to be completely wholly unique, in my opinion, is, I mean, for lack of a better word, just problematic to me. I mean, I don't know. I think it's encouraging the kind of behavior that like I see with like AI dating and just AI friendships in general, relying on an unalive thing to like bolster yourself. Can we take a quick pause? I have to go to the bathroom. Actually, here, you can think of an argument real quick. Okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
I don't know what came over me. I don't really remember exactly what I was saying.
You were talking about AI companionship, or you were talking specific. Originally were talking about AI in D&D, and you said that it could lead to people making friends with AI and not other people.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I just like, especially with how much creativity is involved in D&D, it just seems bizarre to me to boil it down to that. I think that's pretty much all.
No, I agree. That's why I don't play D&D with a AI chatbot when I want to play D&D and can't with friends. But I'm just saying it is an option for people if they want to do that. I mean, that's up to them. And I think in some ways it could be seen as like a way to try out the hobby. Obviously, I mean, I wouldn't say it's really trying out the hobby. I think there's a lot of negatives, but I think if people want to play D&D and you may not have people to play with, I would just say go to your LGS, find a group, or find a group online, but you have to get out there and do it. I mean,
sure,
that's just how friendships work.
Yeah, like
if you want to do the hobby, that's how D&D and role playing works in a lot of ways. Like obviously, there's other ways to do it by yourself, but
yeah, I would just sooner recommend Baldur's Gate 3 if you want to try out the hobby, or if you don't have any friends, over AI, in my opinion, because I think that's a way more productive way to get involved, and it's something that was created by real people that worked very hard on it versus AI.
I agree with you, but I also think an even better way is just go to your LGS.
I mean, yes, I understand.
I know I say that,
but also,
I mean, I'll say this: like, if you go to your LGS, you're going to be making friends with real people. You don't have to spend any money. I mean, you're spending your time, but you're spending your time in both things, so your opportunity cost is the same. But what I am saying is, you're in real person talking with real people. You can catch a vibe pretty quick. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be free. Like playing D&D for the first time is you can play it completely free for the first time. You know what I mean? To try it out. You don't have to create some grand world that you completely come up with. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. You don't have to make your own class like first time out. You can just like you can literally go on D&D Beyond or Daggerheart. You can use one of the classes that are free, and you can just play that way. I would point someone that way if they want a D&D like experience, because to me that's truly what D&D is about. Is sitting at a table with a bunch of friends and making a story together. So, but yeah, you can continue.
I mean, traditionally, I agree.
You can also do that in Baldur's Gate too. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. I would say like I agree with you. I've been playing D&D for like 5 or 6 years at this point, and I was just talking with Henley the other day after our session, and I was just saying like I'm very grateful that we were able to find a group of people that has grown since its original form, which includes adding Henley, believe it or not, because he was not there originally. And I'm very, very grateful for that. But I also think we need to, and you also have another distinct privilege because you have a second group of people to play with as well.
Yeah, but I'll talk about this. I guess that's like a greater idea. When you pick your friends, I think you really need to be particular about who you're picking to be friends with. And I think you're picking friends that judge you based on playing an imaginary board game with your boys, I think that's a little weird. Not telling you to not be friends with them. I'm just saying like, but
it's also not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah, exactly. But I think there are ways to do it. You got to get out there. You got to put yourself out there. I mean, yeah, I agree, but I think you also have to do some work in it as well. But yeah, we're very, very lucky to have the friends we have. But I think a lot of people are like that. So, but I would say you do have to put yourself out there in some ways.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's just I do know that it's hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, if that doesn't work, I don't know what else to say. But yeah, that is not.
I understand what you're saying.
Situation.
I understand what you're saying. It's just D&D does innately have a barrier to entry, which isn't the price tag.
I think it's
because the base book is free. Player's Handbook is free.
When the first experience I had playing D&D was actually at a school club. It was in Hanover, Germany, and we were playing with people literally from all over the world. We had a Portuguese friend, an Italian friend playing it,
but the basic rules are free. Okay.
And we were playing D&D 2.5. Okay, this was back when I was in 6th grade. So we were playing D&D 2.5, and
is this before 5e was even a thing?
When was 6th grade for us?
Oh no, 5e was 2014. So I think
this was when 5e came out. But our DM was our Spanish teacher from Spain, obviously, Mr. Perry.
Actually, might have been 27.
Lit guy, by the way. But he set up this club, and so we decided to do it. And we didn't know each other at the start, but we did all become friends playing it. And my first experience playing D&D, and you don't even have to get into, and I talk about the role-playing aspect. You don't have to get into the role-playing aspect to be into D&D. You know what I'm saying? I just think that's D&D's greatest strength, but you don't even have to be into that. Like, you can play D&D just like as a pure dungeon crawl, which is what we played it as at first. You know what I mean? Like, literally, our first session was, we met in a tavern, and we decided to go to this old dwarvish ruin of a mountain, and we did a dungeon crawl through it. And I remember, we literally rolled stats, we did everything, and this is Wizard 2E. My friend was playing a wizard. He walks into this room, there was 2 bats, and the bats killed him because he had a negative in con. So, literally, your first time playing D&D may not be the best, you know what I mean? It may be really weird compared to all the other times you play D&D.
My first time was very weird too.
But I had just as much fun playing 5e back in the day in 6th grade as I do now playing 5e, even though I've evolved as a player. You know what I'm saying? And I probably wouldn't like what I liked back then now, but You know, it all started joining that club, and then obviously certain things occurred later, and then I picked it back up. So
Yeah, that's fair. I just think, yeah, I don't know. We're kind of
Yeah.
in a very amorphous space in this argument, but go ahead.
I played a Dwarvish Paladin, or not Paladin, Ranger back in the day. 2.5e Dwarvish Ranger, because I believe, or I suspect it was 2.5e because there's backstab as a rogue mechanic.
Mm.
But Ranger was such a broken class in 2.5e that we were only limited to one Ranger, one Paladin, because Paladin and Ranger were the best classes and 2.5e, which is crazy saying that now with looking back at looking on 5e. You know what I mean?
I mean, they're still pretty powerful classes.
Yeah.
My first character was a Dragonborn sorcerer named Gorayax Nankoth, which is why my D&D Beyond account is called that. But yeah, I don't know. Suffice it to say, despite our disagreement here, that D&D is a great game. And if you're interested in it, people who are watching it and made it this far in the video, or whether this is a short or not, if you're interested at all in not even just playing D&D specifically, because, you know, maybe you're not into the high fantasy sort of situation, that's the beauty of it, because you can apply it to whatever. If you are interested in that kind of thing, I think it's worth, like Matthew was saying, reaching out to people. I think they like, which I don't love recommending this, but I'll just put this out there. There's groups to hire on Fiverr. I'm pretty sure. I think that's a thing. Which paying to play D&D in that way, I think, is weird. But I mean, if you're just looking to get into the hobby, there's things like that. Just explore it. You know.
Yeah,
it's fun.
search. I would search on. I would search, and I don't recommend searching on this app usually or this site, but I would search on Reddit before I would search on Fiverr.
Yeah, I actually think that's a better alternative. I would say.
I'm sure there's like an r/D&D subreddit out there that
yeah, and they probably have a link to a Discord or something.
Yeah, search YouTubers. I mean, YouTubers have Discords, and
yeah,
I'm sure there's. We don't have a Discord. Don't search us, but
yeah, we do not have Discord.
Yeah, search somebody else in their Discord, and they probably have a Discord.
I actually could
I could for groups page.
I could plug a Discord because I joined a Discord a long time ago, in probably during COVID, a Star Wars devoted Discord based off this guy I followed on Instagram. I made quite a few friends on there. I don't have as much contact with them anymore, but we were playing the Star Wars D&D Galactic Edge of the Empire, I think it was called, for a little bit, and that was another D&D thing I was doing at the time. But yeah, there's things to do, you know. It's not all hope is lost, you know. If you're interested in the hobby, a little PSA for you.
Yeah, lock in,
yeah.
Pile it in.
Anyway, big gaming news. I don't know if we have much else to say in that respect. I think we covered mostly everything.
We kind of went off on a tangent here.
We did get very tangential about BG3.
Anyway, hope y'all have a great day.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Exit here.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. Tell us whether Matthew was right or I was right about our Baldur's Gate takes. Flame Matthew if he's wrong, and be really nice to me if I was wrong.
Remember, folks, whatever your opinions are, they're phenomenal.
Yes.
They're phenomenal. And whatever
we
you
love
like,
you.
I like. Okay?
Yeah, I'm on your team.
I'm the ultimate supine photoplasmic jelloid. Anyway.
Remember to junk it out.